This episode is sponsored by yourtimetotravel.net. We are going to be talking about Georgia Championship Wrestling, May 1970. Hey, Rodney, let me ask you a question. When's the last time you went on a Carnival cruise?
Oh, my goodness. It's been 10 years at least.
Well, you know, you could do the wobble if you wanted to on the Lido deck. Ever done the wobble on the Lido deck?
The only time I have never personally done the wobble, but I've seen people who drink too much wobble on the deck like that.
Well, this is true. Now, you can do that because you're the good drink packages on on the Carnival Cruise Line, so you get you a good drink package. While you know a lot of ships here. You know, you almost need to get in touch with your time to travel. You just go to yourtimetotravel.net because they got the Horizon, they got the Luminous, they got the Legend, the Jubilee, which I'm going on this Jubilee, this big ship.
Now, let's explain them. Now, the Jubilees, and it's not some ship. It's not like a regular ship. It's the newest Carnival ship.
This is true.
The latest and the greatest. It's got the roller coaster on the deck there.
I've not done that, even though I was on a Carnival Mardi Gras. I've not done that. I'm maybe a little bit of a chicken to get on there and do that. So you got to be really wanting to get your roller coaster ride on to do so. But I haven't done it yet. But I understand though a lot of families like to do that. Plus they got the ropes course, guys burgers, a lot of things that you can do on a cruise. Carnival Cruise Line, Royal Caribbean, all kinds of stuff. Hey, we can even help you if you want to. You can go on a bus tour. We can help you go on a bus tour as well. Hey, get over there right now to yourtimetotravel.net. Make sure you put the 2 in there, not T-O.
Number two.
Like Mr. Wrestling 2. 2. Yourtimetotravel.net. All right, Georgia Championship Wrestling. It starts on May 1st, 1970, Atlanta, Georgia, the Atlanta Municipal Auditorium. The challenger defeated Bob Armstrong. Ramon Torres defeated El Menico. Rodney, something I did find out that we didn't know in the last video. Luis Hernandez, which was the stepfather of Gino Hernandez, was El Menico.
Oh, sure. Setting 2 lights brightness. Well, that's it. I didn't realize that. So he was big time. He was a big time.
Hey, there's somebody talking to you on the other side over there.
That's Google. They always interfere with everything I'm doing. They're not listening in on anything I'm doing, though, however.
Alberto Torres against Rocket Monroe ended without a winner as a time limit draw. Ray Gunkel and Buddy Fuller defeated Carl von Stroheim and Professor Chimera. El Mongo defeated Buddy Cope by disqualification. Nick Bockwinkel and the Professional, sometimes Doug Gilbert, defeated the Assassins by disqualification.
I have a feeling Nick Bockwinkel and the Professional is doing some cheating.
Yeah, they probably the one got disqualified.
I think so. They probably trying to instigate some kind of cheating there. In the match, Homer Odell, who managed Colt, Chimera, and von Stroheim, following the match with Gunkel and Fuller. Stroheim and Chimera match. Voheim and Chimera almost came to blows as von Stroheim, I hope I'm saying his name right, felt that Chimera lost the match, but Homer Odell was able to calm down the situation. They remained in the ring as Colt made his way for his match against El Mongo. Mongo was awarded the win. When the other 3 interfered and began attacking him in a 4-on-1 battle, yet Mongo still managed to clear the ring and sending his enemies running. Leo Garibaldi and Charlie Smith were credited as the referees for the card. It was announced that Paul DeMarco and Joe Scarpa would wrestle each other in an amateur match on the May 8th, 1970 match, and that Dory Funk Jr. and Bill Miller would be returning to wrestling in Atlanta very soon.
El Mongo must have been one heck of a dude.
He's a star. This is what you do with your star. Okay, this is what happens when you have a star. You're pushing the guy, and I remember he showed up probably in 1980 again. People remembered El Mongo even after 10 years. Tremendous star. Dad said he was big time at this time here in Georgia.
On May 2nd, 1970, the very next morning, the WQXI studios, the Professional, which is Doug Gilbert, and the Challenger, which was Bobby Shane, defeated Yaka, and Fuji.
Couchy and Fuji.
Yeah, there we go. Nick
That's right.
Bockwinkel defeated the great Jim Wilson. The Assassin, number 2, defeated El Medico.
And then we come up on May 8th. That's a Friday night at the Atlanta Municipal Auditorium. Daryl Cochran, who later, I think, was a big partner of Bob Armstrong, later on defeated Jim Wilson. His buddy Fuller defeating El Medico. It's Carl von Stroheim defeating Tom Geohagen. It's the Torres brothers, Alberto and Roman, defeating Buddy Cullen and the Professor Chimera. And in the amateur rules match, Joe Scarpa defeated Paul DeMarca. And then in the main event, it's the Texas or a tornado match as the Assassins defeated Nick Bockwinkel and the Professional.
Well, when we talk about booking, as we've seen on the prior show, disqualification. Probably the Assassins got disqualified for whatever reason. Or it could have been a doubles disqualification. They come back the very next week on the next Friday night, tornado match, probably Texas tornado match, no rules, no disqualification. Someone had to win, and the Assassins defeated Nick Bockwinkel in the Professional. So it really worked against probably Nick Bockwinkel in the Professional.
Yeah, I guarantee you the disqualification was due to all 4 men being in the ring at the same time, and then they had a tornado match, which is all 4 men at the ring at the same time. And tremendous stuff. Absolutely tremendous stuff.
Great booking by Leo Garibaldi. And we want you to know January, February, March, April, May, sellout business at the Atlanta City Auditorium. I know a lot of times this says the Atlanta Municipal Auditorium, but I believe it was the City Auditorium, wasn't it?
Well, that's what Georgia Championship Wrestling always called it from the time that I was watching. So it was always Atlanta City Auditorium. But officially, I believe the official name was Atlanta Municipal Auditorium.
Now, I want you to see if you can keep up with this, Rodney. Cochran replaced Ramon Torres in the match against Wilson. Fuller replaced Alberto Torres in the match against Medico, as the Torres replaced Fuller and substituted for Ray Gunkel the match against Colt and Chimera. I don't know what was going on there. A lot of substitutions going on in that thing. And evidently Ray Gunkel or Fuller, with either one was on the card. I don't guess. Following the Scarpa DeMarco match, DeMarco told Scarpa and the crowd that he wanted to bury the hatchet and offer his hand to Scarpa. As Scarpa reluctantly gave in, DeMarco surprised him and applied the sleeper until Scarpa was unconscious, but didn't release his grasp until Gilbert, the Professional, charged the ring and chased him away. The individual from the Assassin Bockwinkel Gilbert match who scored the fall was to face the NWA World Heavyweight Champion on May 15th, 1970 card. Assassin 2 scored the pin when he took advantage of Bockwinkel after Bockwinkel had accidentally collided with Gilbert during an attempted double team maneuver. Now we see what happened in that Texas tornado match. Bockwinkel attacked Gilbert afterwards. Well, there we see Nick Bockwinkel back to his old self again. Well, I guess he would have been.
Well, I mean, let's be honest now. We have to be who attacked who. It was Gilbert that attacked Mr. Bockwinkel. He's just merely retaliating.
But we do know what happened in the tornado tag and how they lost that match. He obviously blamed him for his loss. Homer Odell managed Colt Chimera and Von Stroheim. Leo Garibaldi, Eddie Smith, and Charlie Smith were credited as being referees for the card. It was announced that Dory Funk Jr. would be wrestling in Atlanta on May 15th, 1970. And in the program, longtime manager Jack Crawford vowed to return.
I was just wondering when Scarpa was in the sleeper hold, DeMarco had him in the sleeper hold, and Gilbert came out and charged the ring and chased him out. I wonder if his music started first.
I bet you that didn't happen.
I guarantee it didn't happen. They wouldn't. The promoters back then wouldn't have put up with that nonsense, not for 1 second.
No, I don't even think we had music by that at that
No.
time. Well, some people did. I believe you got like Gorgeous George might have had music during that.
And there was a guy by the name of the Matador, I believe, had music.
So some people did have music back in those days. It had to be a pain to have to put it on there, though.
That's true. That's true. Okay, we're up to me. It's May the 9th, 1970. It's Saturday. It's back at WQXI Studios. Nick Bockwinkel and Paul DeMarco defeated Yokochi and Fuji. As Assassin number 2 defeated Bill Dromo. It's Buddy Cote defeating Pedro Valdez.
May 15th, 1970, Atlanta, Georgia, at the Auditorium. Bob Armstrong defeated Bad Boy Hines. Ramon Torres defeated George Harris. Ray Gunkel and Buddy Fuller defeated Yokochi and Fuji. Assassin number 1 went against the challenger. It ended without a winner as a time limit draw. Nick Bockwinkel and Paul DeMarco defeated Joe Scarpa and Doug Gilbert by disqualification. And the NWA World Heavyweight Championship match, Dory Funk Jr. defeated the Assassin number 2.
All right. During the Funk Jr., the Dory Funk Jr. and Assassin number 2 match, Assassin number 1 attempted to replace his partner. It was reported to NWA official who was in attendance and reported back to NWA President Sam Muchnick, leading to the suspension the next week of both assassins. Leo Garibaldi, Charlie Smith were credited as being the referees. For
that's what you get when you try to cheat in the NWA World Heavyweight Championship match.
Well, exactly right. And I think that's the good, what they did, protecting the championship like they did. I think that was perfectly, because you want to keep the champion legitimate. And I think as far as title reigns, 4 years, Dory Funk Jr. went without a loss, without being pinned. He didn't lose it. Some champions, Jack Briscoe, Harley Race, they lost it and then won it back. Ric Flair, but Dory Funk didn't. He I think he held for 4 years straight and then losing to Harley Race.
May 16th, 1970, Atlanta, Georgia, the WQXI studios. The challenger defeated George Harris. The Torres brothers, Alberto and Ramon, defeated Carl von Stroheim and Professor Chimera. Assassin number 1 defeated Bad Boy Hines. Following the Torres von Stroheim Chimera match, Chimera and von Stroheim nearly came to blows. Once again, these two guys can't get along, come to blows. Homer Odell was the manager of those two folks.
All right, we come up on May the 22nd, 1970, Friday nights back in Atlanta. This time we're at the Paul Jones Sports Arena. It's Jack Vansky versus Tim Geohagen. It is Bill Dromo defeating Oki Shikina. El Mongo versus Professor Kimura. Bill Miller, Bill Miller was versus the professional. It was a time limit draw, 20-minute time limit draw. It's Alberto Torres and Leo Garibaldi defeating Betty Colt and Carl von Stroheim by disqualification. And, of course, the main event was Joe Scarpa defeating Paul DeMarco.
Evidently, again, Leo Garibaldi had some issues with Homer Odell again, Buddy Colt, and the whole Homer Odell army, I guess, that he had. I don't know if this is when he would wear the helmet or not. I don't think it was. I don't think he was doing that yet. But evidently, Leo Garibaldi, refereeing, had some problems, some issues with them, and gets into it with them again. But it says Garibaldi substituted for Ramon Torres.
Well, he was on television the week before. I was just wondering if he was gone. Maybe he was. I don't know. Anybody knows? Please put it in the comments if you know what was going on with the why the Torres brothers, one of them, was not appearing on some of the cards.
But he said Garibaldi substituted for Ramon Torres to team with Alberto Torres in the match against Colt and von Stroheim. Colt and von Stroheim were also replacements, as the Assassins were suspended by the NWA for a multitude of infractions in recent months. It was reported the final straw that led to the NWA to suspend them from all NWA promotions, not just not just Georgia, all NWA promotions throughout the continental U.S., Hawaii, Canada, and most of South America. So evidently parts of South America they could go to. This happened when they attempted to pull a switch against Dory Funk Jr. on May 15th, 1970.
Wow.
There you go.
Wow. And, well, we're not going to get into today's shows. We'll talk about that on another edition. May the 23rd, 1970. We're back at the TV studios in Atlanta, WQXI. Bill Miller, I don't know why I have a problem saying that, but Bill Miller defeated Pedro Valdez. It's Paul DeMarco and Nick Bockwinkel defeating Alberto Torres and the Professional. And then it's Professor Kimura defeating Jack Vansky.
Well, Homer Odell had all he could take. He had all he could take, and he fired Kimura on this particular program, on this television program. Paul Jones joined Capital to announce that since the Assassins had been suspended and Assassin 2 was the reigning Georgia television champion, he was declaring the title vacant and had set a match for May 29th, 1970 between Nick Bockwinkel and Joe Scarpa to determine a new Georgia television champion.
All right, then we come up on May the 29th, 1970. We're back in Atlanta at the Paul Jones Sports Arena. Pedro Valdez defeated Mr. Yokochi. It's Bob Armstrong and the Challenger defeating Randy Tyler and Rip Tyler. It's Carl von Stroheim defeating Professor Kimura. Lirio Garibaldi and El Mongo defeating Homer Odell and Buddy Colt. The NWA Georgia Television Championship match, Joe Scarpa versus Nick Bockwinkel. And, of course, that match ended with no contest. And then the main event was a no time limit match with the Professional defeating Bill Miller.
You know, I see that there are some problems with the Torres brothers during this point in time, it looks like. Even though they do come back, they must have had to be wrestling somewhere else or injured or something. Because it looks like that Leo Garibaldi's taking their place a lot during this particular time. Does it seem like that to you?
See, there's something strange going on. There's definitely seems to be a problem with the Torres. Well, I mean, we will see here in just a second. We will see even more as we as we follow through. They're still there. There's an issue. There must be some type of unless they're being double booked, unless they're working outside the territory, other places.
This event took place at the Paul Jones Sports Arena, but initially it was supposed to take place at the Lakewood Speedway, but it was moved to the sports arena due to inclement weather. Odell managed Colt and von Stroheim. Following the Garibaldi, Mongo, Odell Colt match, Kimura charged the ring and attacked the latter two men. He attacked Odell and Buddy Colt. The Bockwinkel Scarpa match was to determine a champion for the vacant title. But because of what happened in the match, the title remained vacant pending a rematch set for June 5th, 1970. Assassin 2 had previously been the champion, but the title was declared vacant on May 23rd, 1970, as he had been suspended. Tim Geohagen was the special referee for the match. Charlie Harbin was credited as being the referee for this card. The very next morning, May 3rd, 1970, WQXI Studios, Alberto Torres, which is there, defeated George Harris, which is, I believe, they call him 2-ton Harris.
Yes.
The Professional and the Challenger went against Nick Bockwinkel and Paul DeMarco. It ended without a winner as a time limit draw, and Buddy Colt defeated Del Jones. And that is May 1970 Georgia Championship Wrestling. Some good stuff here, Rodney.
Absolutely. And I love the idea. What they've done. See, the Assassins never lost the belts. They were all stripped. So when they come back, they can come back with a vengeance. However, you can hear what Tom Ernesto and Jody was saying on TV. They couldn't beat us. They really couldn't beat us here. So what did they do? They suspended us for no reason other than the fact that we were unbeatable as a team and had to take the belts. Not that someone beat us for them. They had to take brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And can you imagine with the talent with Tom Ernesto and Jody Hamilton, they could sell the deal better than anybody else. Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff.
on the next video, June 1970, Georgia Championship Wrestling, we will see exactly what takes place with the Masked Assassins. Will they return to Georgia Championship Wrestling? Well, you need to watch that video. And thank you so much. If you enjoyed this video, give us the big thumbs up, subscribe to the page, and go one step further, hit that notification bell. Until the next video, we'll see you on the next installment of Georgia Championship Wrestling.